Good morning, Birmingham. Dixon and Vining, Talk 99.5, talk995.com, 8:06 our time on a beautiful and very hot Tuesday. It's going to be hot. It's only 78, maybe 79 right now, but we're headed toward 93. Heat index going to be in the hundreds once again. Is going to be steamy and sweaty. Just get used to it because we're going to have that for the next couple of days. Maybe some increased rain chances by the weekend. Fingers crossed. Lord knows we could use it, as long as it doesn't just make things hotter and steamier. It's part of the problem.
But sometimes it makes it worse.
8:05, Dixon and Vining, Talk 99.5, talk995.com. Going to get into the daylight saving conversation in just a moment, but first I wanted to say this. When I first started in talk radio, 1999. Yeah, it was February. I was down in the Pelham area, actually kind of Hoovery, Pelhamy, you know what I'm talking about, right by Pub 261. And I was, young and eager in talk radio and was interested in trying to find new advertisers all the time. And I walked into this place called Tony's Jewelers, and I spoke with a guy named Tony Montalbano. I bought a really beautiful emerald ring from him for my now ex-wife. She's probably pawned it. Anyway, he sold it to me for a song. I mean, much less than, in my opinion, he could have gotten for it, but that was kind of Tony's way anyway. He had a dog in the shop. You know me. I love dogs. So, of course, we got to talking about that. And I told him that I was going to send someone by and that he should really think about advertising on my show. And he agreed to. And I advertised for him for quite some time. Tony Montalbano, father of Brian Montalbano, who now is in charge of Anthony and Company Jewelers, which is just up the road from Tony's, where Tony's used to be. Tony passed away last week, and I just wanted to think about him as one of my very first sponsors and one of just a truly wonderful individual, a guy who I could go there. He'd invite me into the back room, and an hour and a half would pass, and I'd be like, what the hell? I'm due on the air, Just a great guy, a truly great guy. And he passed on, by the way, that gift to the rest of his family, who now runs Anthony and Company Jewelers. They are still at 2080 Valleydale Road next to Ragtime Cafe. They moved there some time ago, and they still have prices so low they can't afford to have a sale. Just thought I'd pass that on and give him a little love, because Tony, man, I'll tell you what, there might not be a Richard Dixon in talk radio if I didn't have some of those early sponsors that came through. And
sorry to hear of his passing.
That was bad, tough. But, into each life, you know how it is. Mm-hmm. Miss you, Tony. Gonna miss you, brother. Here's something interesting. The daylight savings time fight has gone to the Senate, and now the senators are really they're fighting over what happened in the 1970s. I personally loved it. When they went to full-time daylight savings time, I was a big fan, and I was young. I was probably, I think, 9 or 10 when they did this, and I had zero problems with it. I was getting up and I was walking to school in the dark, in the snow, but it stayed light later, right?
Mm-hmm,
that
yes.
was the
Everybody
time that
it.
I could really use that time.
Mm-hmm.
I could use it for sledding. I could use it for, playing in the snow with my friends. That was the time that I really wanted the daylight. The morning, all I'm doing is walking to school. It's not that big a deal.
Right.
But they're acting now like it is such a huge deal that it's going to be dark some mornings, and that they're just really too concerned about it. And so they're coming up with excuses either to not vote on it at all and put it off, or to just vote against it.
Can I just say, of all the things that we've got going on across the world, across America, in D.C., this one is like the bottom of the list. I know we've talked about it. Tommy Tuberville has talked about it. We've been trying to get this pushed through, and it's just like, guys, come on, this is not that complicated. Let's get it passed. Let's get this done.
You do
but
have
for
a
some
point.
reason, we just keep dragging our feet on it.
Well, a case can be made that if they don't pass it and we just continue to go back and forth on the clock twice a year for the rest of our lives, I'm not sure that that's going to greatly affect my psyche.
Right.
I think I'll probably survive. I've never been one of those people who's like, I can't get used to the time change.
No.
It's an hour. Have you never slept late on a Sunday? That's just the same thing.
It's not that. Yeah, you're not flying across the world.
You're not traveling across the international date line. You're not experiencing jet lag or anything like that.
No.
So it's not going to kill you.
But I will say this, I don't like it starting to get dark at 4:45 in the afternoon. There is something about that I absolutely hate.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure those that have to drive home from work at that time and they're on the interstate and it's 4:45 and you're like, I haven't even made it home yet.
Right.
I can't even get out in the backyard for a half a second.
Nope.
I'm pulling in my driveway and it's like it could be it might as well be 10 o'clock at night. Something about that. And that's why I'm kind of like, okay, if we're going to do this, let's do daylight saving time. That just seems normal. But there are other people in other parts of the country that go, but that's totally different for us.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. I don't know the answer to it, but I just feel like we just keep going round and round and round about it.
Yeah. I'm still ticked off that we're not on Eastern time in Alabama, but that's never going to change, so I can probably stop complaining about that now. And you and I have a different set of circumstances, of course, because it's always dark when we drive into work.
Mm-hmm.
It's always going to be dark when we drive into work.
There's a couple times this year it's already changed a little bit.
Yeah.
Where you could see a little bit of light.
Just a glimmer.
Just like on the horizon where
yeah.
it's not. And I was like, oh, that's pretty. That's very nice. And it lasts about 2 weeks and then it's gone.
And it's gone.
Now here we are where, we're slowly moving in the other direction of the time change.
Yeah, we are. And by the way, there are times, like if I get just the tiniest bit of a late start, everything is off by a little bit, I usually am walking out the door by 4:30. By that time, I've been up for almost an hour, okay? But if things are off by just a little bit, I don't know what it is. I've something gets in the way, something... something's like, I got to clean out the sink,
or the
the
dogs,
dishes, whatever.
Something to do with
something
them.
has to, exactly. So now I'm 10 minutes, I'm 15 minutes late, and I find myself driving. First off, the traffic pattern's completely changed. I'm fighting with a lot of different cars on the road now that aren't usually there. Secondly, just as I'm rounding the corner onto Green Springs, the sun starts coming up, and I panic. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so late. The sun is coming up.
That's not normal.
You're not that late.
Oh,
you're
no, just a
okay.
couple of minutes.
You get
be
to,
all right.
You get to work an hour before you go on the air every day, Richard. It's going to be okay.
Fine.
You'll somehow survive this, nonetheless. Yeah, well, we'll have to see what happens. They, decided to, when they did this before in the 1970s, it was going to be a 2-year experiment, and they cut it off early because people whined and complained so much. But the fact is, people don't like change. And we know this from working in radio, because I swear to God, you could replace dead air with a show, and people would call in and go, hey, I was listening to that.
That's really true.
It was peaceful.
It doesn't matter what the change is. There's always a complaint.
Exactly.
Always.
Exactly. It does
and
not.
you're right. The dead air thing is very funny. Wait, I was listening to that.
So, of course people are going to complain when you change it. And there's going to be people who are like, well, we should have gone with the other one. We should have gone with standard time. Well, here's the thing. Make a decision and stick with it. If the decision is that we're not going to ever go to one or the other completely,
then stick with it.
Make that a bold statement and say, we're not doing it.
Yeah, we're going to continue the time change.
If you're going to go with daylight, say it. We're going with daylight, and stick with it. If you're going to go standard, say it. We'll be angry with you because of the 4:45 sundown.
Because it all the way home.
Yeah.
Although I'm not driving at that time. But I'm thinking about you guys. I mean, there's a lot of people that do.
Yeah.
But then eventually we get used to it.
And as kids, you want to, come home, get your homework done or whatever after school activities you have. Here you are. It's 4:45. Practice is over because it's dark.
That's right.
It's time to go home.
Time to go home. Grab some dinner.
Right.
Sit down with the fam, watch a little primetime TV,
Sure.
and go to bed.
Bedtime's 4 hours later, right? You're sitting there going, okay, what do we do now? I got another 4 hours.
You're going to bed at 6:30 now. I have a running gag of, is it midnight? It feels like midnight, 5:30. when we get that. Oh my God, it's so late. No, it's 5:30. You're okay. 8:15 with Dixon and Vining, Talk 99.5, Talk99.5.com. Back at a flash with three things. Uh huh. 8:20. Dixon Inviting, Talk 99.5, talk995.com. Download the app. Listen to us on your phone. Listen to us online at talk995.com if you're so inclined. Watch us on YouTube. We're everywhere, is what I'm trying to say. There's no excuse for not tuning us in. Dixon Inviting, here we are.
Mm-hmm. Everywhere.
Very proud.
Everywhere.
We're everywhere.
Yeah, download the app because it is free and it's the better app of all the apps that are out there as far as listening to us and interacting with us, and we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Here's somebody I'd love for you to interact with if you don't know him yet. He is just a wonderful man, and he's got a fantastic business. He's very, very honest, and his free estimates will show you that his prices are much less than some of the bigger companies when we talk about gutters. There are a lot of gutter companies out there. Man, are they asking a pretty penny for their gutters and gutter covers. Not Noble Contractors, not Daniel. Daniel is local, and he started this company because he wanted to put up great-looking gutters that will do a great job for your home to move the water away from your house and away from your foundation. Put those gutter covers on there to keep the leaves and debris out of those gutters so you don't have to get up on a ladder. And that's what he does day in and day out. Tell Daniel that I sent you. When you need gutters, get a 10% discount on your new gutters. And as he has said before, go ahead and get a free estimate from some of those other companies and have him come out. Once you meet Daniel, you'll be like, I get it. Veteran of the military and just wants to do a good job at a fair price. That's what it's about. If you've got a gutter that needs repairs, he didn't necessarily put up those gutters. He'll come out and repair that gutter. If you've got gutters that are clogged, there's something going on, they're not working properly. When it rains, the water goes over the top of the gutter. There's an issue there. Let him come out and take a look at what's going on and resolve that for you. And whenever you need anything gutter related, reach out to Daniel at Noble Contractors first. Again, a local business we believe in. I believe in what Daniel does, and you will too once he comes out to your home and gives you this free estimate. 205-422-3034. Put it in your phone. You never know. Everybody needs a gutter guy. If you got a house, you need gutters. 422-3034. It's Noble Contractors.
And now, it's Dixon and Vining's top 3 things you need to know.
Well, when you send your kids off to college, you might expect them to learn a lot of things about the world. But cutting Coke and packaging it for distribution is not one of them.
Yeah, Coke as in the cocaine.
Cocaine.
The cocaine.
Penn State has had 14 arrests over this alleged cocaine ring that was running through a couple of different fraternities, Delta Upsilon and Sigma Chi. They were actually having pledges cut their cocaine and package it for distribution. Right now, there is one guy on the run. His name is Agostino Abatiello. He's 24 years old. He's from Westbury, New York, and he is at large. The rest of these people have largely been rounded up, 13 defendants, Penn State University students at or around the time of this conduct, which was 2023 and 2024. 14th defendant is the father of one of the students who was charged with tampering with evidence and hindering the investigation. Couple of guys were making the run to Philadelphia and New York to pick up large quantities of cocaine, which they would then bring back, have it divided up into smaller envelopes, and then distributed to students for, of course, a price. And yikes, 8 more student-age defendants charged, facing misdemeanors for possession and paraphernalia. Liam Smith, Michael Brogan, Caden Howe, Connor Herlihy, Seth Beardsley, Kyle Ridpath, Daniel Price, Charlie Weissman. These guys are all, oof.
They're in a little hot water. And here's the thing. You're kind of foolish to think that you could have 13 people minus the father, 13 maybe plus fraternity brothers that are doing this, and that it's not going to get out. Nobody's going to squeal. There's not going to be a fight within the fraternity, and somebody says, I'm going to turn these guys in.
Yeah.
I'm calling the authorities. Oh, this is so dumb. This is just plain dumb.
Stupid.
Yep.
But then again, they're in their early 20s and
know.
late teens. So
Look, you're there to get an education. You're not there to deal drugs or do drugs.
no, that's just a perk.
Says Richard.
The Supreme Court has once again had to tell Donald Trump no on the $5 million E. Jean Carroll verdict. He keeps trying to push the Supreme Court to throw that verdict out. and the Supreme Court really doesn't look at the facts of the case. That's not their job. Their job is to look at whether or not what was decided was constitutional or unconstitutional. And despite the fact that clearly this was a New York jury that was clearly bent against Donald Trump. I don't know what it is about New York juries and Donald Trump. They really hate the guy.
And which is crazy because this is a man that has done so much for that city.
Yep.
The investments that he's made and the buildings that he's built and the companies that he's produced and the jobs he's produced. It's like, why are you all so hell-bent on him? Oh, that's right. He's Donald Trump and he's MAGA and he's a Republican and they don't like that.
No, it's 9 out of 10 people in New York City vote Democrat, and consequently they are going to suffer from TDS, and they are going to find him guilty of whatever they charge him with because that's who they are. And whether you like that or not, the Supreme Court doesn't make decisions based upon that. They look merely at whether or not everything was handled legally, legitimately, and according to the Constitution, and they come to the conclusion that that is exactly what happened. So he has to cough up $5 million.
Yeah, which, again, where's the relief for Donald Trump in this if he can't get relief from the Supreme Court?
Yeah.
A retrial of some sort, because, again, this woman brought zero evidence that this actually took place, and I just don't know where he goes from here with it.
Me neither. The whole thing is beyond bizarre that somebody could come up and make these charges with the vaguest of generalities. It was in a dressing room. Oh, which floor? Oh, I don't remember. And what year was it? I don't remember. What month? I don't remember. Just absolutely crazy. Hold on a second. One of the worst days of your life, you were sexually assaulted and you don't remember these things? There are some people who say, well, you push that stuff out of your mind. Yeah, maybe. But at the same time, you are still watching The Apprentice. That's weird, okay?
Seemed a little, I don't want to use the word obsessive, but it does seem that's not normal.
No.
That's not normal behavior. If that happened to you, that you're watching the person that did what she's claiming, and you're watching the show with him on it, I'd be like, no.
That makes very little sense. To me, if I were a juror, I would have hung that jury up so fast.
Real quick.
WNBA fans were kicked out of a Fever Dream game. That's kind of funny, the Fever Dream. State Farm Arena in Atlanta, and it was Indiana Fever, the Atlanta Dream. And they were wearing XXXY shirts. There is a company out there that is churning these things out nowadays, just basically to point out that there are men and there are women, and we are different, and we probably shouldn't be commingling our sports for a lot of good reasons. Well, this mother and daughter showed up at this game, and lo and behold, security told them they had to either change the shirt or cover it up because it was going to be upsetting to some people.
Whatever. XXXY. Come on.
They put on their Atlanta Dream shirts so that they could cover that. Later, by the way, the WNBA came out and said, we apologize. That should not have happened. We never should have had, security shouldn't have done that, and the WNBA doesn't support
Here's
that.
the thing. Regardless of what we know that this mother and daughter were doing with the shirts, you don't know what the XXXY stands for. Reminds me of a license plate we had in Alabama that they assumed what the license plate said on Joe Biden. But you're assuming that. That might not be the intent of the person that got that Alabama driver's plate. And you don't know. You're assuming with this mother and daughter.
In another interesting turn here, the Dream, the Atlanta Dream, they played, I can't remember, another team earlier in the week. Less than half the stadium full, less than half of the arena full, and the highest price for tickets was $30. The other night when it was the Fever came to town.
What was it like?
$1,500 tickets.
Crazy.
And the place was packed, standing room only. I mean, obviously what Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark bring to the league is huge. And Angel Reese can complain about it all she wants, but the reality is these people are putting butts in seats, and she is not. And consequently, we're talking about it, I don't want to be, really. I'm going to stop now. How about that?
Whatever they're doing right now is working.
8:30 with Dixon and Vining, Talk 99.5, talk995.com. Your thoughts always welcome, 545-9950. Drop us a line. Or, as we've told you multiple times, if you download the app, you can text us from there, and you don't even have to interrupt the streaming. How cool is that? 836 Dixon and Vining, Talk 99.5, Talk995.com. Little Willie, little Waylon, a little bit of everybody. Alabama Tree Pros, 308-4158, the place that's going to come take care of that tree problem for you, whatever it may be. Might need it trimmed. You might need several of them trimmed. You might need it taken down or cut back, or maybe you need it all the way to the ground and underneath as well. They do all of that and more. You know, people who want to put in swimming pools and say, got this big old tree in the way, what can I do? Well, Alabama Tree Pros can take care of that for you. Okay, how about if you got a tree that looks like it's on the verge of dying? Well, sometimes they can come help you save it. Other times they'll come take it down for you. And if you got trees that are in danger of falling on your house, your neighbor's house, power lines, whatever, they can come trim that up and make sure that it's 100% safe for you. This is their job. They've been doing it for a long time. They're safe, they're fast, they're the best, and they're less expensive. What more do you want? AlabamaTreePros.com, AlabamaTreePros.com, 308-4158, the telephone number. I use them. You should use them. Wow. Oh, yeah. I forgot about this story. This is a really good story. You know how it seems as though Donald Trump has got a divine circle of protection around him sometimes. And it seems as though everybody who ever really goes after the guy, aside from E. Jean Carroll.
Yeah, she's the lone one.
Ends up bursting into flame or, being self-destructive in some way. Eric Swalwell.
Oh, didn't that blow up yesterday?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so first, here's a guy. He was front runner for governor of California. He was almost certainly going to be the Democratic candidate, and of course they kind of just have ranked voting, so it doesn't matter. He was going to be one of the people in the runoff for sure, and chances are really good because he had a lot of name recognition and because people in California are stupid. He almost certainly would have been governor. Until you started getting some rumblings of women who were like, he touched me inappropriately. Oh, he did more than that with me. We were on a business trip, and I got drunk, and I couldn't, tell him no or couldn't stop him from it, and he did things to me that I didn't want him to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It turns out that there's a cascade of these, one story after another, after another. I always find it funny because it's supposed to be conservatives who don't understand or women or appreciate women's rights, and yet somehow when you look at it, it's the guy up in Maine who was the Democratic candidate for Senate who had to drop out of the race. It's Eric Swalwell, the Democrat candidate over in California, that had to drop out because of his abuse of women. Even at one point, the governor of New York State, Andrew Cuomo, was acting inappropriate with women and had to step down. So, what was it with these Democrats? I thought they were all about women's rights.
Sure they are. Mm-hmm. But just not for them.
Apparently not.
When it comes to them.
When it comes to them, that's something else entirely. Mm-hmm. So he ends up dropping out of the governor's race. And I think, oh, my goodness, probably not impossible for him to rebuild his career. People have done it from worse positions than this, but only slightly worse positions than this. You take a couple of years, you work in the private sector, then you start working your way back in again. And when people talk to you about it, you go, that's in the past. Oh, we put all that behind us. I've made amends now. I'm a different person, blah, blah, blah. And you can work your way back into politics. And he's a relatively young guy. Well, yesterday put an end to all of that. Mm-hmm. FBI files have now been released that show that Eric Swalwell was deep in it with a Chinese spy. Now, we had always kind of suspected this.
Fang Fang.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We had heard about this, Christine Fang, but at no point did we have verification that he had actually engaged in, what's the word I'm looking for? The horizontal mambo.
The relations?
Yes, yeah.
Had relations with her?
The beast with two backs. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We never actually got verification on that. Now we have verification. The FBI files say it happened multiple times, multiple circumstances. And what was going on here
A little of it was for her. It was her doing.
Oh yeah. Oh,
this
of
was
course.
her going after him.
Oh, absolutely. She was a
Yeah.
Chinese spy.
Yeah.
So she had access to a California congressman. She was helping to get him money, right? She was going out. She was fundraising illicitly, illegally. She was bundling donations. She was lying about where they were coming from. And in exchange for that, he was putting the people that she told him to on his staff. I mean, aside from her, she spent some time on his staff too. But no, on the congressman's staff, he put these people in some pretty important positions.
Mm-hmm.
And gee, why would a Chinese spy want her people in those positions?
Makes perfect sense.
A, to find out what's going on.
This should almost disqualify you from ever being able to run again. And you were talking about being able to rebuild your reputation and everything. This could have been really, really bad for our country.
Oh yeah.
And the details that they could learn about because of the relationship that they had with him and that she had with him really compromised America. And I'm like, that might be one of those where you go, no, you don't recover from this.
I think
You might need to be done for good.
this might disqualify you from being free. You should probably be in prison somewhere because you were knowingly engaging in fundraising fraud, right? Revenue fraud for your campaign, and you were opening up the United States Congress to investigation by Chinese spies. Look, Nancy Pelosi had a Chinese spy driver for years and years and years. And, the driver is the one who's like, he's the one who hears everything.
Oh, they
He's,
do. Yeah.
driving down
The
the
phone
road.
conversations,
Yep, can hear this.
all of it.
I mean-
somebody that's in the vehicle with them.
Absolutely amazing to me. And here we are. Swalwell himself admitted to FBI agents during interviews that he engaged in sexual relationship with Fang on multiple occasions, including one incident in which she showed up at his door and the two, quote, hooked up, end quote. Yeah, this is...
And he blames it on drugs. Oh, I'm just like, no.
by the way, when this was called out, somebody called this out, I believe, in a session of one of the committees that he's on. I remember if it was the Judiciary Committee or if it was an oversight committee anyway. Somebody basically was said, hey, man, you were engaging in relations with a Chinese spy. I want that stricken from the record. I want that stricken from the record. That's irresponsible and lack of respect being shown to members of Congress, et cetera, et cetera. He would jump on that and he would deny it at every turn
There's
when
strike
it was
two.
made public.
There's strike two.
Yeah.
I mean, you lied about it.
Yep.
You knew what you were doing. Even one of these hookups, he said he took Ambien, and that's why he couldn't remember really what happened.
Uh-huh.
Right. So you're... oh, yeah.
This is some real
These
scumbag behavior,
yeah, it
people.
really, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, I always kind of suspected that. Just looking at him, my creepo meter goes off. I just always kind of thought both he and, pencil neck Adam Schiff is another guy I just look at, and the creepo meter goes off. I'm like, this guy's been engaging in some stuff that's not right. And for some reason with Adam Schiff, I feel like it involves little boys. That's the kind of thing I just look at him and go like, ooh, you look like I would have to take a shower if I shook your hand. Just yikes. And Swalwell has always been a weasel to me. And now we are finding out that what we suspected is absolutely true. And the man was basically helping to engage in treason. And, of course, because it was at the time, it was the Biden Justice Department, they decided not to pursue it.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
And they let Fang go back to China.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, right. Forgot
Chinese
about that.
spy.
Yeah,
Chinese
the Chinese
spy.
spy.
Right.
Well, we discussed this. Unfortunately, you were out of town that week when we were discussing this. But there's now a pretty good amount of evidence, according to Catherine Herridge, that China was blackmailing Joe Biden.
I'm not shocked by that.
No,
I
me
don't think
neither.
anybody's shocked by that.
No,
No.
once they dug into some of these files, the files that Trump was talking about when it came to voter integrity, she, Catherine Herridge, kind of a hero of mine, she read all of it, God bless her, and she dug out some of the lines in there. It's like, oh my God, China was blackmailing the Biden administration.
Can you say balloon?
I
Why the balloon got
that's what I
left
said.
alone? He didn't touch the balloon.
Exactly why the balloon made it all the way
Like,
across the
how
country,
does that
man.
make it all the way across? Somebody shoot that thing down.
No, we can't
Oh,
do
no.
that.
And then
Oh.
finally, through some course of conversation, he was probably like, look, I don't have a choice here, guys. China, I got to shoot this thing down. I'm just letting you know when it gets over to the East Coast, here it goes.
Can you wait until after it gets over ocean?
I don't doubt that conversation happened.
Me neither.
I would almost bet you money on it. The Biden picked up the phone really quick and said, hey, they got eyes on this thing. Well, you can't shoot it down. Well, we have to, because otherwise they're going to figure out there's a connection between the two of us.
Yeah.
Oh, well, can you leave it up just a little longer so we can download the information off of that balloon? Just hang on. Oh, it's about to go over another military site. Once it goes over that military site, then we're going to download it. Then you can shoot it down. Oh, my heavens, y'all. Thank you, Biden family, opening up the southern border, letting Chinese balloons fly over, Burisma, and all the money that the family got from that. It's just disgusting. It just is.
Weasels.
Ugh.
Absolute weasels. 847 with Dixon inviting your thoughts, of course, always welcome, 545-9950. Jimmy Hall. Great guy. Good interview. And wonderfully talented. 8:53, Dixon Dividing Talk 99.5, talk995.com. Thanks for tuning us in and sticking with us through thick and thin. We appreciate you more than you could ever possibly imagine. The Department of Justice is once again going to the Supreme Court and saying, could you make this district judge end the blockade on the White House ballroom construction? This is a, lather, rinse, repeat situation. This is about the fifth or sixth time it's been to the Supreme Court. It's getting tiresome. It seems like every time the Supreme Court says, yes, the president does have the right to do this. He does have the power to do this. No, he doesn't have to check with Congress when it comes to making changes to the White House. Nobody else has ever had to go to Congress or check on it. Not when it came to putting a bowling alley in the basement like Richard Nixon did. Not when it came to putting a swimming pool in the back. I think that was Truman. I could be wrong. Truman made some pretty big changes, as a matter of fact, but didn't have to check with anybody. Bill Clinton, I believe, put a much larger bed in the Lincoln bedroom, and already may have done some other stuff too.
Well, and this is important too, especially after the another near attempted assassination of the president in a hotel.
Yeah,
he's trying to build something that will be beautiful, that you can have lots of people in, that is attached to the White House there, it's close to it, and you don't have to worry as much about those security issues that you have with that kind of a gathering, whether it's reporters or it's the guests that you have and the president, the vice president, whoever else is there. And again, who's paying for it?
It's all volunteer money.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not. So explain to me why this has just turned into such a big issue. And the only thing we can come up with, it's Donald Trump, and it's his idea. And he's building something that's going to be beautiful and useful for, hundreds of years to come, decades to come.
This is probably one of the reasons why there are judges who want so very badly to stop it, because they don't want his name on something that's going to be there in perpetuity.
Yeah.
The Trump Ballroom. It's going to be called the Trump Ballroom from this point on.
And it should.
Once it gets done.
It was his idea. Nobody else has thought of doing that. Build a bigger ballroom so you can have more guests.
And do it with volunteer cash, That's very impressive. But yeah, these judges, they can't stand the possibility that Donald Trump may actually have a lingering presence after he leaves the White House. And so, despite the fact that this is really ridiculously unlawful for this judge to make this, and then the three-judge panel, by the way, in the D.C. Court of Appeals, sided with the judge. And one of them, the one who dissented, Naomi Rao, she said, look, the district court abused its discretion because the challenger, the National Trust for Historic Preservation, has no standing to stop construction at the White House. And I think that has been found before by the Supreme Court as well. So at this point, it's just a game of cat and mouse. It's just a game of how much can we slow this down? How much can we hold this up? How much can we cause problems for this president, even though we know that what we're doing isn't necessarily within the confines of the law. We don't care as long as we're sticking it to the man, We certainly saw this with Boasberg. Boasberg tried to continue to hold some people in contempt after he'd been told by the Supreme Court, you have no standing in this matter. Mm-hmm. You don't have the power to say anything about anything here. Well, I'm still holding these people in contempt. No, and the Supreme Court had to come back and say, no, you're not. This is over. You're done. Back off. It's crazy to me that a radio talk show host in Birmingham, Alabama is able to look at this and see the legality and the illegality of it from here without having spent 1 second in law school. And yet these judges wearing black robes with their little gavels are over there doing things that they have to know is wrong.
It's a power grab. That's all it is. And it's a way to stop Donald Trump, as you said. It's all about, and Boasberg is more about look at me.
Yeah.
It's even less about actually what he's doing, and is he making Donald Trump angry? He reminds me a little of Anthony Fauci. It's like, you two should, oh, how much more time can I get in front of the TV, and then I'll write a diary about myself. You're like, wow, you are such a narcissist.
I think
and I think
you're right.
Boasberg is the exact same way as Fauci. They need to hang out together.
Oh, yeah. You may have a very good point there that
Sheesh.
Boasberg is, this is why he would, for instance, put himself in charge of these cases when it's supposed to rotate through. He's the head judge of that particular
And
district.
he's like, no, out of the way. Elbow all those other judges out of the way. I got this.
I'm going to be the one handling this case because I want it to rule the way I want it to rule, whether it's actually legal or not. And then, I don't know. Like I've said, to me, if I were a judge, being overruled would be about the worst thing I could imagine. Would it happen once or twice? Of course it would. It's almost impossible to be a judge for any length of time and not be overruled by the court that is one level above you. They see things differently. They got a different piece of evidence, whatever the case may be. They made better arguments at the appeals court. I don't know. But it's almost impossible that you're not going to get overturned once or twice. But when you are overturned as much as Boasberg has been just in the past year and a half, you should be embarrassed. You should be ashamed to show your face in public.
I don't think he is in the
Oh,
least.
I guarantee he's
No,
not.
He's loving the limelight.
But this is where, people should look at him and say, you're a terrible judge. You're awful at what you do.
And you're not a very good person either.
No.
That you would go after somebody like this, target them the way that he has targeted President Trump.
Also, you're ugly. I don't care for your looks. You may as well just take it all the way to the nth degree.
All righty.
You're dressed funny. Underneath that robe, I don't like what you're
I
wearing.
don't even know what he looks
What's
like
wrong
underneath that
with you?
robe.
You're presuming you wear something.
You're
under
judging him
true.
on his head. That's
Yeah.
what you're judging,
Well,
because
he's
that's
got
all
an-
we see.
He's got an odd-shaped head. Let's face the facts. A little weird. It's a little
else we got?
skull-like. It's like Skeletor.
Oh, my God.
You got
Judge
an email? I'll
Skeletor.
just send him this segment.
I
That'd
wish
be
you
funny.
would. That'd be great.
Take that, Boasberg.
Yeah. Judge
A little
Big
more
Head
of that.
Boasberg at government.org. It is 9 o'clock. Dixon and Vining, Talk 99.5.